You are now tuned into a brand new episode of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K. Sapp. Well, leading up to this week's matchup against the San Francisco 49ers, Kevin Stefanski was on Game Day Preview talking about Shedeur Sanders' performance against the Las Vegas Raiders. Should we take Kevin Stefanski serious on the comments that he said about Shedeur Sanders? But we're going to talk about it all here right after this. Well, guys, man, leading up to this week's game against the San Francisco 49ers, Shedeur Sanders gets his second NFL start. And Kevin Stefanski, after that game against the Las Vegas Raiders, where Shedeur Sanders threw 11 for 20 for 209 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 interception and 1 sack, and led the Cleveland Browns to a victory against the Las Vegas Raiders, the first time a rookie quarterback for Cleveland Browns has been successful in over 30 years on their rookie debut. Now, Shedeur Sanders gets a chance to go back out there and start against the San Francisco 49ers. And after the game against the Las Vegas Raiders, Kevin Stefanski was in the locker room giving his locker room speech and presenting game balls. And Kevin Stefanski made some comments that a lot of people didn't agree with, a lot of people was in an uproar with, because Kevin Stefanski, the way he slighted Shedeur Sanders when he mentioned Shedeur Sanders' name. Kevin Stefanski went on and gave kudos to the defense, gave kudos to the offensive line, gave kudos to the people that was blocking, even gave kudos to his center, even gave kudos to the punter. And then he said, oh yeah, Shedeur Sanders. So everybody felt kind of weird about why he would go about what he did the way he did when he had to reference Shedeur Sanders. Now, we all know Kevin Stefanski been sidestepping, hopscotching over everything about Shedeur Sanders. You know, the narratives out there about him trying to sabotage Shedeur Sanders. There's a lot of things that are out there in the media that is not looking good for Kevin Stefanski. So every time Kevin Stefanski gets a chance to say anything good about Shedeur Sanders, a lot of people like, nah, we not buying it. We don't believe it. You don't mean it. So as I was wrapping up today and about to shut down my production, I received a message and somebody wanted me to cover the information that they sent to me on what Kevin Stefanski had to say in the Cleveland Browns game preview leading up to tomorrow's game against the San Francisco 49ers. And Kevin Stefanski was asked about the performance of Shedeur Sanders against the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, Kevin Stefanski has said a whole lot through training camp, practice, post-game press conferences, media day availabilities, but he's never really came off to where he likes to speak Shedeur Sanders' name in a good way. He barely even mentions Shedeur Sanders' name. Reporters ask him questions about Shedeur. You know how he sidesteps and backpedals. So we can't give Kevin Stefanski no type of credibility when he mentions anything good about Shedeur Sanders, because we don't know if he's being sincere about the whole situation with Shedeur Sanders when Shedeur Sanders does something good and he has to compliment him. So we're going to listen to what he had to say. But before we get off into that, we partnered up with Underdog Fantasy, and this is a word from our sponsor.
Underdog Fantasy is the best way to play fantasy sports. Let me tell you about the easiest way to get in on some WNBA and NBA action. Find your player, pick higher or lower, win you some extra cash. Pick between 2 to 5 players to fill out your pick'em entry, get every pick right, and win some serious cash. Use my promo code SBD23 and receive up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Now that it's football time, follow Simply Ball Dropping as I share my picks. Like I said, pick your player, choose your amount, win money. Make picks, win cash. Thank you, Underdog Fantasy, for the partnership with us. And thank you for using promo code SBD23 on Underdog Fantasy.
Now, guys, with that being said, let's listen to what Kevin Stefanski had to say on Cleveland Browns game preview leading up to the game against the San Francisco 49ers. Let's take a listen.
Shedeur Sanders' first start at quarterback. You announced earlier in the week that he'll be getting his second start this week. So what did you see from him against the Raiders, and what does this week look like in terms of getting him ready for this next matchup?
Obviously, as a quarterback, your number one job is to lead your team to a win. So for him to be able to do that in his first start, I think is a big deal. And obviously, there are some big plays on there, none bigger than the throw to IB early in that game, which was a high level throw and catch. So to be able to find those chunks, I think was outstanding. There are always things for a young player that you can improve upon, and that's certainly his focus going into the second start, but the ability to put your team in position to win obviously is paramount.
Well,
now you heard what Kevin Stefanski had to say. The big throw to Isaiah Bond, putting your team in position to win games, and basically something that he can learn from going forward. But the key thing is putting your team in position to win ball games. And that's what Shedeur Sanders did. So when Kevin Stefanski makes comments like that, can we take him serious because of the fact of what he said after the game against the Las Vegas Raiders? He really didn't want to give Shedeur Sanders his kudos. Now leading up to the week against San Francisco, he wants to give Shedeur Sanders praise for putting the team in position to win the game. The high IQ, high level skill set that he showed, the arm strength that he showed to throw the ball to Isaiah Bond on the move. You want to give him credit now. So the thing about it is, a lot of people, they can't take Kevin Stefanski serious because he hasn't been showing this type of energy towards Shedeur Sanders all training camp, all practice, and all the media day availability. Now, all of a sudden, the day before the game, you want to make comments like you've always been on Shedeur Sanders' side. So that's why a lot of things get misconstrued in the media because of your actions. And Cam Newton said it best. It's not what you say, it's your actions. Your actions speak different. So when people think that you're sabotaging Shedeur, you don't want Shedeur Sanders to succeed in Cleveland, it's got to be some kind of truth to it because of your actions. It's what you display. But then when you get in front of a one-person interview, your whole spiel changes. But when you're in the media and you have all these reporters asking you different questions, you have a different persona. That's when it shows the dislike for Shedeur Sanders because of the questions that are asked to you and the way that you respond. Like Cam Newton said, it's your actions. So now you just stated that Shedeur Sanders shows you high-level stuff. Have you ever said them comments toward the quarterback that you handpicked in Dillon Gabriel? Have you ever came out on record watching the 6 games that he has played, the 6.5 games he played? Have you ever said that Dillon Gabriel has did some high-level, high IQ stuff? I beg to differ. You haven't said it. Now you seeing that Shedeur Sanders is really him. You see the capabilities and the potential, and you see what everybody else has been telling you, that Shedeur Sanders is the guy for the Cleveland Browns. That's your franchise quarterback. Now that Adam Schefter reports out there talking about, y'all going to take a long look. This could be Shedeur Sanders could take over for the rest of the season. But if Shedeur Sanders don't play well against San Francisco, it's a potential y'all can go back to Dillon Gabriel. Also, the weather conditions tomorrow. the game plan better be a game plan where it's going to be a heavy dose of Quinshon Judkins or Dylan Sampson or Jacoby Ford if he's healthy. You got to get the run game going. Then it's going to be some opportunities for Shedeur to get that ball down the field, because without Fred Warner and Bosa, this San Francisco defense is not a highly blitzing defense. Without Fred Warner and Bosa, this defense is not the same. This defense ain't lights out. So it should be some opportunities for Shedeur to get the ball down the field. Cedric Tillman just got to be ready. Isaiah Bond got to be ready. Jerry Jeudy got to be ready. Earl Fannin Jr. and Njoku, they got to be ready, because it's going to be opportunities that Shedeur can get. But the game plan, you must come out and you must establish that run, and that's going to open everything up for Shedeur Sanders. But Kevin Stefanski, you really said that? Nah. I see everybody in the comment section, #salute. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, turn your post notifications on so you know every time Simply Ball drops another hot banger. Oh yeah, just in case I forgot. Tell a friend to tell a friend. It might not be for you, but it might be for them. And this is going to wrap up another episode of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K-Sap. Catch you on the next one. Deuces.
Thanks for listening to the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share on all major platforms.
That's all, folks.